welcome to Sitting with Sallie. Today I have two guests from the International Toastmasters Kenora Club. Welcome Judy Underwood and Riley Baird. Judy has been a member with Toastmasters for a while, and Riley, while a new member, is the current president of the Kenora Club. Judy, can you just tell me briefly what is Toastmasters?
Toastmasters is an international club. It's where leaders are born. And it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to join and develop your professional skills and your personal skills, both as well as communication and leadership. And it's just a fun opportunity to get out and socialize.
And Riley, I know you're a relatively new member. What made you decide to join?
Honestly, because of my job, I do a lot of public speaking for my job. And when I started my job 3 years ago, I was so nervous to talk to in the public. And it was actually Judy that told me that I need to come to Toastmasters. And then I've been a member for about 2 years now.
It's uphill ever since. And now you're a president. And,
yes.
And how did you become president?
They elected me. I guess they really wanted me to be president. So I said, sure, why not?
And you're now finding out the work's involved. Yes. Toastmasters Kenora is also celebrating its 50-year anniversary, I understand?
We did last October. Yeah, we had a great turnout of people. There was about 30 people that came around the district, Kenora, Dryden, Fort Frances. Even we had our district people from Winnipeg that came too. So it was a wonderful day.
And behind us, we have all kinds of ribbons. These are ribbons, Judy, that the club has won over the years?
Absolutely. We have some members in our club that have been there for 25 years, and the ribbons speak to the hard work of the club. As well as achieving your personal goals, the club can set goals, and depending on if meeting those goals and different criteria, you can get different ribbons, such as the Distinguished Club Award.
And what does that mean?
That means that certain people within the club have completed either competent communicator, competent leader, you've gotten some new members, and you've met those goals, and it's recognized within the club.
And now, Judy, you're going to talk a little bit about things that happen during a meeting.
Absolutely. When you go to Toastmasters, we have a set agenda, and there are jobs that you can take on, such as the grammarian, the timer. We evaluate each other's speeches. We have people who do the setup. And there's different roles within the club. So as well as working on your speaking skills, Sallie, you can also work on your leadership skills as well and get feedback on that. So maybe you're an evaluator for a time, and we'll go into a little example about that later on in the show.
Aside from giving speeches to a group of people, I would think the evaluation part would be tough. I'm not sure if I really want people to be saying, oh, well, you should have done this, you should have done that.
And that's a good point, and that's a big fear for a lot of people, Sallie. But the good thing about Toastmasters is the way they do it. They use a technique called the sandwich method that helps you build on the skills you already have. So, Sallie, you have great eye contact right now when you're talking to me. Perhaps you could talk a little bit louder. But I really like the way you make me feel so welcomed on your show. So that's an example of how the feedback is given. It's done in a safe way, it's done with your peers, and it builds on your skills. So we want to encourage people to be the best they can be.
And Riley, can you think of something that has been commented during evaluation that has helped you with speaking?
When I first went to Toastmasters, I had arms like this. And push everybody away. Of our members still do. The members.
Chipmunk.
Yes, chipmunk. That's what Val always says, is chipmunk. Or I would stand awkwardly and have my legs crossed. But I've since moved past that. But it's really helped me improve. I just really like how it's constructive criticism. We start off with a positive and then something to work on. We all need something to work on. It can't just be, oh, it was great, you were this, you were this. We need constructive criticism to grow, to learn, and that's how we can improve.
For sure. And it sounds like you are much more comfortable now speaking.
Oh, yes, for sure.
For sure. Judy, you've got this little gizmo. What is it?
This is our timer box. In Toastmasters, we like to time everything because if you're running a meeting, you want it to be effective and to stay on track. So the way we do it is we indicate when somebody is speaking. We have 3 lights and we have a bell. And it's just to help the speaker monitor their timing.
And I understand we also have a word of the day.
We do. One of my favorite words, ambassador. So it is a noun, and there's 2 meanings. The first meaning is an accredited diplomat sent by a country as its official representative to a foreign country. And the second, a person who acts as a representative or promoter of a specified activity. And used in a sentence, Sallie is an ambassador for the cat shelter.
There we go. Before we started going on the show, we were all commenting on how we're ambassadors of different programs. And of course, I want a license that says I'm an ambassador. I'm a huge ambassador of a cat shelter, as we all know. And you have a word of the day at a meeting.
Every meeting we have a word of the day. People are encouraged to use it. We actually count the numbers of times that people would use the word of the day during the meeting, and that's just one of the points that we evaluate. And as well, it helps us increase our vocabulary. Sometimes we have a tricky word, sometimes we have a fun word, and that's part of our meeting.
And today you were both ambassadors for Toastmasters.
Yes.
Yes.
Yay.
So you time people. Does everyone give a speech each meeting?
Not every meeting. The way the program works is it comes with some support materials, and there's 2 books that when members join, they can have the communicator book as well as the leadership book. And the beauty of Toastmasters is that you set your own pace with your own comfort level. You're assigned a mentor, and they help you as well. So I just completed my Competent Communicator book, and I've been in Toastmasters for 3 years. Some people have completed that book within 10 weeks. It's 10 speeches that make up the book, and the skills you learn on one speech build on the next one. So it's totally up to you to set your own pace.
And as well as speeches, what else?
There are the leadership manual, and in that it has specific tasks. So when you come to a meeting, you just don't come to a meeting and do your speech. You take on tasks. You may be the timer, you could be the grammarian with the word of the day, you could bring the inspiration, you could bring some humor, and everything that you do, we look at it and we evaluate it so that we can pick out those points of improvements and let people know what they're doing really, really well.
Okay. And there's something called table talks?
Table topics, and really that is my favorite part of the meeting. Riley, what about you? Do you think?
Yes, it's to work on your improv skills.
Absolutely. It's an impromptu speech. Quite often we'll have a theme at our meetings, and so we'll try and build the questions around the theme to support the overall meeting. And at our meetings it would take 2 minutes. We're going to do a little example here for a little teaser for everybody out there. But for this one we're going to shorten it a little bit for the show, but people can actually see that it can be fun and how it works.
Okay, so we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we will be introduced to the table talk subject, and we'll see how that works.
Great.
Welcome back to Sitting with Sallie. I have Judy Underwood and Riley Baird from Toastmasters, the Kenora Club, and we are going to do something called table talks. Judy has not told me, table topics. Judy has not told me what the topic is, but knowing that I'm an ambassador for the cat shelter, I suspect it may have something to do with cats. Take it away,
Sallie,
Judy.
I just want to acknowledge you used our word of the day. Yay. Very good. Yay. As we talked about, table topics is the brief impromptu speech where we pick a topic and we get somebody to talk about it. So the way it's going to work is I have picked a topic for today. We are going to time it just like we do at Toastmasters. So what will happen is at 25 seconds, the green light will come on to let the speaker know that they're 25 seconds into it. And at 50 seconds, the yellow light will come on. And at 1 minute and 10 seconds, the red light will come on. If you go over that to 1 minute and 20 seconds, you get the bell.
And then if you don't stop at that point?
We just cut you off. You get the hook. Not really, but. So, can anybody guess what our topic is today for our table topics?
I suspect cats. Or
You're
something
close,
to do with
Sallie.
cats. Yes.
We're talking about pets. Our theme today is pets. And my first question is, what is your funniest pet story, and who am I going to ask? would you like to tell us about that, please?
Sure. Madame Table Topic Master and Sallie. A funny story about my pet. That's a great question. I have a 2-year-old bulldog named Drummer, and he is the love of my life. Sorry, Derek. He snores so loud. Last night, I was lying in bed, and I looked at Derek and I said, "What is that sound?" And I crept outside the door. And then there's Drummer just lying on the couch on his back going so loud. The house was shaking. I could not sleep last night. I had the worst sleep. It's always like that every night. So I decided to buy earplugs because I need a good night's sleep. And so does Derek. And does Drummer care? Nope, he sleeps all day. We set up a GoPro camera. We thought that, maybe what he'll do, get in the garbage. Nope, all he does is sleep all day. Madame Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Riley. Well done, well done. And you were within the allotted time. You did not get the bell. Well done. Now,
Before, I would like to really congratulate you. That's some of the best dog snoring I have heard.
Yeah.
I think I probably snore like that too.
But you've listened to him enough that you've got it.
Yes, for sure.
Sallie, so did you see how it worked?
I did, yes.
Okay, so you know the timing is at 25 seconds, and then at 50, and at 1 minute 20, 1 minute 10, and 1 minute 20 will go. So, my question for you, Sallie, is this.
It's not going to be the same question.
No, you get a different one. If you had to choose between a cat or a dog for a pet, which one would you choose and why?
All right. Well, as we all know, dogs have friends while cats have staff. So I have realized that really I am a very good fetch and carry person for my cats. Currently I have 5 cats, and while they mostly ignore me, except at dinner time, when I've been away and come back, they turn their backs on me and say, "Who are you? You weren't around. Go away." They worm their way into your hearts. They don't try to please you. Dogs are very amicable. They do what you want. They try to please you. They're there for you. They slobber all over you. They're lovely. Cats ignore you. Cats demand what they want, and when you give it to them, they say, "That's not what I want after all. Let me out, let me in, let me out, go away." What I really like about cats, and this is, I've been trying to be funny here, but what I really like about cats is we don't very often get to really relate to non-human animals. And cats are these amazing critters that are still very the same as they were hundreds and thousands of years ago. They have that innate wildness. They don't have a desire to please us. And by living with them, you learn not only about them, but a lot about yourselves. Thank you.
Great job, Sallie. Well done, well done.
Good thing it was only a minute. I could have gone on forever.
So just a little bit of feedback. Everybody was definitely within the time period, and that's great because that's hard when you do it. And we're here in a little different environment. We're sitting. Normally you would stand. Sallie, you had great eye contact, and your facial expressions and that, it was just so engaging that it really made me want to listen to you. And if I could only pick one little point of improvement, I heard one tiny as a connector, and I had to listen really, really carefully to pick that out. But that was a great job. I would have said you were a member of Toastmasters already.
There you
You're
go.
welcome to come anytime.
Anytime.
I can be an ambassador.
Yes.
Thank you. And are you doing one too, Judy?
I didn't plan on it, but I certainly could. We have flexibility here, so.
I think we have time for one
Okay.
more.
Can we hand it off? Riley, would you like to time for me?
Absolutely.
And I can pick a topic.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Nothing like being put on the spot on TV, but
No,
let's
but
have some fun.
You did it to me, so it's going to be an easy one. I think you should talk about why you like going out in a canoe.
Why I like going out in a canoe? I love going out in a canoe. As you know, we've canoed together. For me, when I get out in a canoe, all my thoughts, all my worries, anything that's heavy on my mind, the chatter in my mind, as soon as I get in that canoe and get on the water and start paddling, I leave that all behind. And that for me is a true gift. I enjoy socializing with people. I enjoy being out in nature and getting some physical activity as well. Of course, when we go, we usually bring a lunch, and it's usually healthy, and everybody brings something different, so it's a great potluck. And it's the camaraderie of being in nature, getting some physical activity. It's one of those things that I look forward to for summer, because when I'm in the canoe, then I know summer has really happened. And we have such beautiful scenery, so many beautiful lakes around here, that I enjoy the stillness of the canoe, not hearing the sound of a motor. And it really, to me, is just very, very peaceful. That is why I love canoeing.
Very well done.
We clap a lot.
Oh, okay.
We clap a lot at Toastmasters, yeah.
That's great. You had, while you were talking about it, you had me in the canoe. So that was good. So you've heard a little bit about table topics. We're going to take another short break. And when we come back, we will talk a bit more about what else is involved in Toastmasters. Welcome back to Sitting with Sallie. We just finished table topics, and it was quite interesting how the topics were, while lighthearted, quite different. And while on the break, we were talking about how you can really talk about anything once you become comfortable speaking, and if you don't know about the subject, you take it off somewhere.
Absolutely. That's one of the things we teach, because quite often people are nervous, and sometimes you get a topic you just don't know anything about. But you pause. You can reflect your thoughts, pull them together, and if you don't know anything about that topic, you can come around from a back door and talk about something that you know that may relate, or put a different spin on it to the question, so that you can still talk for your full time.
Ambassador reminds me of a cat named Ambassador that I had once many years ago.
Yeah.
Sallie, you're getting the tick for the most usage of the word of the day.
Congratulations.
I like gold stars. So there is also a learning program part of Toastmasters?
Absolutely. It's called the EPT, Educational Pep Talks. They're short little talks on a variety of topics. For example, parliamentary procedure. You want to learn how to run a meeting. Or you want to learn, you're a new member, and you want to learn, how do I start developing a speech? So there's presentations as well during the meetings that help you develop your skills.
And who would do these presentations?
Usually it's the more senior members of the club. I'm hoping to do 2 before the end of the year, because that also counts towards your credits for the different programs.
And do you know what your 2 are going to be?
I know what my first one is. I'm going to do how do you develop a speech. That's going to be my first one. I haven't picked my second one yet.
Okay. And you're nodding, Riley, and have you been involved in any of the educational programs?
No, I haven't. I'm just focusing on my speeches. I'll be doing a speech tomorrow, and I'll have 2 more after that, so I'll be finishing that book. So that's my goal, to finish it by June.
Okay. And what's your speech tomorrow about?
That's a very good question. It will probably be something about Alzheimer's or dementia, because that's where I work, and that's what a topic that's I know, like the back of my hand.
That's your familiarity. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, good. So you know the topic, but you obviously haven't sat down and prepared a speech yet.
I'll be doing that today.
Okay, after this. And do people normally, if they're going to give a speech, sit down and actually write a speech in preparation? Is that what is recommended?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Get your thoughts together
And practice. And practice out loud. When I first started at Toastmasters, I would get myself a timer and I would do my speech out loud, because you need to hear your voice out loud to yourself, and that helps build confidence and comfort level. And you mentioned workplace, Riley. When I completed my competent communicator, I got a certificate, and a letter went to my manager at work, who acknowledged receiving the letter by an email, and then that goes in my personnel file. So there are rewards for the individual as well as the club rewards built into the program as you
And I
accomplish.
imagine one of the rules is you should never read your speech.
No.
It's very interesting because when we read, we have a different cadence than when we talk. And again, if you're reading, you're not making eye contact, which you mentioned. And
Absolutely. Sorry, Riley.
Sorry. One thing, though, that I would give as a tip is instead of writing out your speech, that's fine and dandy for practicing, but when it comes to your speech, put it in point form.
so you can't read it.
Well, some speeches you can, like I have personally, because I'm horrible at memorizing, but memorizing to a point, but then when you're talking, actually, you could go over your time or say something that you don't mean, or I know in the past for my speeches, I said, okay, I'm going to talk about this. Did I actually? No. And it made it a lot better.
Yes, and I agree with you. I have point form to make sure I've
Yes.
covered everything, because when you're up there, you think, oh, I know there's one more thing, but what is it?
Exactly. And those are just the cues. And if you know your material well, you can just speak to it, and then you know you've covered all your points. You've started with your introduction, you've got your body with your 3 main points and maybe your supporting points after that, and your conclusion. And the thing we learn in Toastmasters is you want to start with a really strong introduction and a really strong conclusion.
And those are hard to do. I often find that the body of what I'm talking about I know really well, but getting into it and getting out of it takes some thought and preparation.
It does, and that's the part that I will usually practice, because then I'm just very comfortable. You can be more engaging. Your hand gestures, you're not so stiff because you know what you're talking about. Chipmunk, we call it the chipmunk. And it seems to work really well.
You mentioned a chipmunk. You mentioned me using the you know,
That sort of thing.
that sort of thing. What are some of the other things to avoid when giving presentations?
Some of the other things to avoid are standing with your hands in your pockets, or because body language is really important with communication. You want to make the audience feel that you are really talking to them. So not looking, this is my favorite point of improvement, not looking at one side of the room all the time. I still hear that little voice in my head saying, from Toastmasters, you need to look at everyone in the audience. So
And
those are some tips.
Sorry, the bigger the audience, sometimes the harder it is to look at everyone because you realize how big the room is.
It is, but you know, there are people there that are here to talk to you or to listen to you, and really they're there because they're interested in what you have to say. And the more relaxed you are as a speaker, the more relaxed your audience is going to be and more likely to remember more of the messaging.
And I think the more relaxed you are, the more you're able to talk in your own voice. And I imagine
Absolutely.
that's very important,
It is,
Yeah.
for sure.
finding your voice.
Definitely. And like one thing, I know when I first started, after I would finish talking, I would stand there and say, thank you. And other members, the seasoned members, I would say is, don't say thank you. We thank you. You got up and stood up and you talked. So we are the ones that thank you, and we clap and give your evaluation. So never say thank you.
It sounds like you feel very good after you've given a presentation or a speech.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I would say yes, definitely. And we talk about the benefits at work, but there's also the personal benefits for you as an individual with Toastmasters. If you're a little bit shy and you're going to a party, how do you engage in that conversation? This gives you some tips that then you can feel more comfortable talking to people and know that because of table topics, you can talk on the spot without having things prepared.
Or you can always say, I'm an ambassador for Toastmasters.
I'm an ambassador for Toastmasters or for the cat shelter.
Or ask if they have a cat, and then you can talk to the cat.
That's true.
That's what I usually do. It's fun animals. That's where I hang out with the animals at a party.
Actually, that's a good point, is to find common ground with people that you don't know.
Yeah.
And not everyone has a cat, but we're hoping to change that.
Yes.
Anything else that you, anything else on your list?
I guess people would say, well, how do I join Toastmasters? Or is there a cost involved to be a Toastmaster? The fees will be $170, and that's for the whole year, and that includes all your meetings. And that includes your first 2 books, your Competent Communicator Manual, and we brought some manuals here, as well as your Competent Leader Manual. For those of us that are renewing, it will be $140. So when you think about that, we go from September to June. If you average that out over the number of months, and we do meet weekly.
It's every Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. we meet at KACL over by the wholesale store. And everybody is welcome to come and just drop in, check us out. You can come and be a guest. There's no commitment. We work with the comfort of the individual when they first come, so you will never be put on the spot. You wouldn't have to do a table topic.
As a guest, you can just come and observe.
Observe,
Sit there.
absolutely.
And how many members do you have roughly?
We currently have about 8 members right now.
And are you one of the newest, or I guess you've been in for 2
Yes.
years, so
I am one of like the newer ones, but there have been a few people like, after me. So yeah, it's a great program. I highly encourage people to come by, or if they just want information, they can call Val Brown at, where's her phone number?
well, we have 468-7571.
Yes, that is her number. Yes, you can call her for more information. Just come by. We encourage everyone to come.
Okay, well, thank you both for coming on Sitting with Sallie. I've certainly learned a lot about Toastmasters, and I certainly enjoyed the table topics.
And thank you, Sallie, for helping us to be ambassadors and to participate in your show.
Thank you. Round of applause.
A round of applause for everyone. And thank you for joining us for Sitting with Sallie, and we'll see you next time.